Greetings and salutations, folks. Welcome to another episode here of the one-offs here on the PLD Projects. I am your host, PLD, and with me this week, my special guest, this month, actually, it's a monthly podcast. Starting off all wrong already. That's how we work. But with me this month on the show, my friend Chris Clark, the mighty Chris Clark. How are you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing phenomenal, Paul. It's great to talk to you again. It's been probably like 3 years since we've been on a video call together, maybe 2.5.
Perhaps.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's always good to talk music with you, Paul. It's going to be great. Billy is one of the best, and his music speaks volumes. So I can't wait to talk, dude.
Oh yeah, it has been a while. Like the last time we were actually on any kind of podcast or stream together might have been Suddenly Soundtracks when I was with you.
I believe it was.
So
No, yeah, it was when we were talking about Queen.
was the
Yeah,
Queen
it was innuendo. Yeah, we were talking about Queen. Yeah, so yeah.
Well, they're actually, in a way, I got to say that your podcast, Suddenly Soundtracks, actually kind of somewhat inspired this to a degree. I mean, not the same type of thing, but just the idea of passionately talking about stuff with a fan of something that's really something they love. I get to talk with my friends about stuff that they love. Now, granted, I have to be able to hang the conversation, or it's not going to be much of a podcast. So, but for me, it's always about experiencing what you have to say about the certain this week's artist. Billy Joel is a perfect way to go about. And so you were one of my first people I had in mind when I came up with this podcast. I'm glad we got to make this work.
Glad.
And let's get into it. You mentioned Billy Joel, one of the greatest of all time. It's interesting to think about his legacy and where he started from and where he is today. He's gone through a lot of different times and a lot of different changes, and music has changed quite a bit around him, obviously. Let's go back to the very, very beginning. Of course, we have recordings from those pre-days back, like from the My Life box set. He had some attempts to kind of get things out. You talked about it briefly in a DM with me about, they have the Hassles and we have Attila. Not your favorite stuff.
Attila. Let's talk about Attila. It sounds essentially like as if somebody recorded a band in a garage and put the bass way up. It's really not anything to write home about. The Hassles is a little bit better. I, like you, haven't really delved into Hassles too much, that territory. It's very singer-songwritery, a little bit of a Motown vibe. Hassles, they had some good ones, but I feel like Billy didn't hit his stride until that first album we're going to talk about. So
100%, I agree 100%. It's funny because I had a friend growing up in my high school era, Andrew Bacchus. I don't know if you're ever listening out there. He is a huge Billy Joel fan as well. He got me into some of this other stuff that I hadn't heard, like old the demos and things of that. And he's the one who actually said, "Oh, they have some free stuff." He was like, he's a little delusional himself sometimes. Like, Attila, it's like Billy Joel doing heavy metal. I'm like, really interesting. And I listen, I'm like, well, not quite, but okay, I see what you're going for here. He's trying to be a rock band a little bit. It didn't really work too well for him. I agree. But that was just a kind of like a guy finding his way. He didn't know exactly what he wanted. I think it's actually, in a way, though, it's a little bit of a defining thing for him, because I think at his heart, he always wanted to be this big rock star. Like, he really wanted to be this, like, Bruce Springsteen kind of like just rock and roller, whereas when he ends up is much more of that singer-songwriter vibe, and that's not denigration at all, because he flows that role very well. But I kind of think at his heart, every once in a while you see him like in concert, he'll throw on like a No Man's Land or throw out something like I Go to Extremes. Like, you can tell he really wants to have that rock and roll stardom that going on.
He wants to, like, even when you see the fact that at the end of the day, Billy has always said he writes things on guitar, not piano. Right. Everything he writes is on a guitar, is meant to be played on a guitar. He always said, and like if you watch early interviews, even interviews nowadays, he hates the fact that he's stuck to a piano. He can't just get up and walk the stage because you can't really pick up a piano and do the showman stuff. That's why he puts We Didn't Start the Fire, No Man's Land, I Go to Extremes, A Matter of Trust. These songs that just don't need the piano. I Go to Extremes has a great little piano bit, but he has his keyboardist do it live.
Right.
But these aren't piano focused songs that he can just wail on and just be able to strut the stage like he does. You even see with You May Be Right, he does the mic twirls live. He does the trick, the mic stand. He'll stand there during An Innocent Man and just like improvise Stand By Me. It's great stuff live that he can do, and not all of his stuff. He's not just the piano man.
Oh, not at all. He's called a piano man for obvious reasons, but my God, he's less of a piano man than you would think. I honestly think you talk about his live concerts. He's one of the best concerts I've ever seen.
Yeah,
because of his showmanship. It's not necessarily his piano. Yeah. The music's great, but it's the way he performs the music. He treats the audience like you're at a bar with them and you're singing along with them. That's all it is. It's just kind of like this fun.
He'll even put like 2 songs up against each other for the audience to pick.
Right.
That's how, like, his band is so good that they have all these songs prepped that they could just wing them out at a whim. Right. And maybe some shows they don't do songs, and that's because the audience didn't pick it. And that's just
a very different talent, and it's a big talent. Like, if there's other artists out there who don't do that as much, like a Pink Floyd or Queen, because they have such intricate sets or intricate concerts to go back and forth. Billy runs that kind of looser show enough. Like, there's definitely intricate design, but looser show enough where he could pop in and just all of a sudden do a Stormfront night. And that,
but because if you watch the lighting and stuff, it's very simple. It's very shine the light on the guitarist when he's playing, shine the light on the drummer when he has a drum solo. It's very simple stuff. But if you go to a Queen show, you go to Meat when he was alive, when he would do his shows, all of those shows have a specific set list, and that set list pretty much doesn't change for the tour because it's a show. It's like if you go to see a movie, you're seeing the show as it's meant to be performed.
Right.
With Billy, set list is different every night.
That's great.
Everything is different every night. And I love it because it's just the simplicity. There's a story behind every song that he wants to tell because he wrote this stuff. It's similar to Elton John. Elton does the same thing. If we ever talk about Elton in the future, he does the same stuff. So it's great. He's very lucky with what he can do.
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the things I love about him most. I mean, he was one of the first concerts I ever went to was Billy Joel. I had a few hits in like Bon Jovi and like
Bon is great live. You've seen Bon?
I saw Bon
Jovi's phenomenal.
New Jersey tour is the first one of the first concerts I ever saw. But my first run of shows, my father was involved in the Knickerbocker Arena, which is now the MVP Arena in Albany. Yeah, he had box seats for a little bit as part of the introduction. So I had box seats for the Stormfront tour. We had like 4. I got to go to all 4 Billy Joel songs.
Stormfront tour is amazing.
Right, it was a phenomenal
with that
time.
He wore the shades, the black suit. Yeah, he opened with Stormfront, which he doesn't do anymore.
Right.
Great song.
Yes.
With the brass. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what really got me into him more. Like, I had heard, and we're going to get into, I'm going to save that because we're going to get into we got into him, but that's how I grew into him. But so live, he is a phenomenal showman. But we didn't really get that until he got comfortable, I feel like. And he got comfortable.
Oh, the early 70s, when we would talk about each album, the early 70s was a quieter Billy. There's a different Billy between Street Life Serenade, that second album, and the third album, which is Turnstiles. Yeah, because there's a shift, especially with that opening number on Turnstiles. So we'll
Turnstiles, I always felt like we'll get, all right, let's just get into it. Let's start with Cold Spring Harbor. Spring Harbor in there. Now, during this concert, when we reach your pick, because that's one of the things we do in our on one-offs here, we always take that desert album. If we could take one album from Billy Joel and listen to it for the rest of our lives, which is that album going to be? And we'll get into a deep dive into that one specifically. And I don't know if I didn't tell you this. I'm hoping you didn't pick it, but like I try to avoid live albums or greatest hits because like that's
I have a one that I
I feel like it's cheating. It's cheating if you did.
Cheating would be different because if it was a live album, it would be the Millennium Show. The Millennium 2 disc set has his best vocal performance ever, and it's the best versions of the songs. But when I get
cheating way to do it. So let's start with Cold Spring Harbor, which is something that I found later on in my career of Billy Joel. I didn't really listen to this one for quite a while, and I did hear it. I got to hear the really weird speed corrected version, the faster speed version, which it did because it's recorded faster. It's so weird. I'm like, what is this? I didn't even understand what was going on.
They corrected it on Spotify.
They did, which I'm glad to hear because like it's finally. That's a good thing about technology. You can argue about technology having shitty things to it, like doing shitty things to music and AI, and I get it. I agree with you 100%. But there are good things that technology has been able to do, and like to get you to listen to something that which is the original way the artist intended it to be, clearing up some of that sound issues that we could hear it. That kind of stuff I love. And so correcting that Cold Spring Harbor was a great idea and wonderful to it, because honestly, it is one of my favorite debuts of all time. It is such a low-key album compared to a lot of his other works as he gets going on. There's much more of a, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there, but at its basis and its core, it just feels like building the piano. Like that's at the core of everything in this. And it starts off with like, She's Got Away. It's one of the most archetypal type of Billy Joel soft ballad kind of song.
She's Got Away wasn't actually a hit until it was on the live album Songs in the Attic.
Yeah.
Billy has said that first record, because of what Artie Ziff did to it, context, Artie basically took the record, remixed it with a bunch of big band sound effects, and sped up his voice, ruined the record, and the record died. It literally died on the shelf. Now with the corrected version, the piano is more emphasized. A lot of the songs don't have as much instrumentation as it originally was intended for. And She's Got Away. There's also a great ballad about his suicide attempt, Tomorrow Is Today, on that record. And the final song, Got to Begin Again, is a great ballad about just, you gotta start your life over, even if it's a good life. You need to start fresh. You need to always continue on. Even if something bad happens to you, move on. It'll be fine. Things will get better in the future. It's a great funeral song too, like the optimism of the future. One of my favorite Billy Joel songs, and we'll get to it, is about the optimistic future. And it's really, really, really just, that whole record just feels like it just feels like one whole song. It's hard to but it's like She's Got Away is the first part of the song, and then it ends with Got to Begin Again, and it's like this giant opera that it's just piano and voice most of the time, as it was intended. If you can search for the LP with the shitty production, go for it. You're gonna hate it. The piano, I think there's only one big band song, and it's the second song on the record.
You Can Make Me Free.
You Can Make Me Free, and Everybody Loves You Now. But those songs just are few and far between. Everybody Loves You Now, I like. You Can Make Me Free is good, but I prefer the songs that are just his voice and piano, and it's emphasized. So that record's amazing. Yeah.
You mentioned it as like one big song kind of harkens back. He is a classical guy at heart, as we know. At the end of his career, he went to do more classical compositions, even doing a whole album of classical stuff. And actually, I agree. It sounds like almost like classical movement. So it's fortunate we get to listen to it now the way it's supposed to be, and I'm glad, because it is a very strong debut, even though it doesn't show exactly where he's.
It's a great prelude to Piano Man, and a lot of those tracks that were going to be on that record wound up on Piano Man.
Yeah,
I think Captain Jack was originally written for that record too, and it just couldn't fit.
Yeah. Now let's talk about Piano Man. Of course, Piano Man being his probably most signature song.
I totally, by the way, transitioned into that on purpose.
I like you did that. No, I like it. Hey, this is a conversation you do as well as I do. So that's
all good, dude.
So Piano Man is natural. That's his signature song. Everybody knows that's what his nickname, for example. But honestly, I have more songs in this album that I like better than Piano Man. Captain Jack I like better. Ballad of Billy Kid I like better.
Stop in Nevada is a beautiful piece. So is If I Only Had the Words to Tell You, which essentially just feels like it's ripped straight off of Cold Spring Harbor and put right onto the record. Worst Comes to Worst is also pretty fun with that little jive that it has. It's similar to
You're My Home. It's pretty good.
You're My Home is about Pennsylvania and going down the highway, looking at all the signs. A Ballad of Billy the Kid, as you said, live Ballad of Billy the Kid is amazing.
Yes.
It just has such a it even has that weird country thing with the banjo. What is that called?
I know.
Traveling Prayer. That's the opening number. Traveling Prayer.
Traveling Prayer.
Yeah. There's a banjo in a song. I think the only song with a banjo that he has. It's really my personal favorite off that record is Stop in Nevada, but it's a great companion piece to Cold Spring Harbor.
It is, and because it kind of expands on Cold Spring Harbor a little bit. It takes out like those singer-songwriter stuff. He adds a little more of those rocking efforts to it. Like, Captain Jack has those moments. Ballad of the Kid has those moments and everything else. But he's still his core.
And nothing to take away.
Piano Man.
And nothing to take away. Like Piano Man was the hit record off that. I mean, it's still his finale song to this day. It's still, I mean, I'm not going to say Piano Man sucks. I just think it's just not as good as the rest of the catalog.
No,
But it's
also,
meant there. It's also really accessible. It is really accessible. It's like the Cheers theme. It's great. So
I think
yeah,
also what it is for us. It's for when you listen to a lot of Billy Joel. It's a
yeah,
little overplayed for us in a way. That's the one you hear all the time.
But I
So
mean,
you can keep your
something
touch
has
with
to
it,
be
but
overplayed if you want him to be as big as he is. So
absolutely,
yeah,
you can't big hit for a reason. Obviously, people
yeah. I
identify with
mean,
it. It's
live with it.
storytelling.
It's fine.
Yeah. You love to sit there and sing at the bar with them. That's
Oh
Piano
yeah,
Man is
that
like is the live song for him. Really,
yeah.
that's exactly what his concerts feel
Singing
like.
along to Piano Man with everybody in the auditorium is probably still gives him chills because he wrote that.
Yeah.
That must be such a great feeling. So.
That's and it's funny. Like it's funny you say like there's a personal note when we did a concert the Schmodown way back when, and Ben Bateman got to lose a little bit. He mentioned he got to sing his song, one of his songs, "Sorry Tonight" for Now, and like everybody was singing in the audience. He mentioned how how cool that felt when everybody was singing your song.
I wish that's the thing. I wish that we could have done a second one of those because that show was amazing. That whole night was great.
Yeah.
Tech issues not out of our control, but it was a successful night and I loved it. Yeah,
because it was great. It was a great celebration of the people involved.
It was a good finale. It turned out to be a finale.
Yeah, absolutely would have been. And if we had done a second one, you might have been able to convince me to do something. But
yeah,
maybe next time.
Maybe in the future.
Yeah, you never know. Never say never. All right. So after I went to Street Life Serenade, which is it was definitely he started being more engaging. I would say that first big hit out of the way. I love one of my favorite songs on this album. It might be my top. I got to see is "The Entertainer" because I love "The Entertainer" because I'm a guy who loves songs that build. Give me a song that starts with one thing and then adds another. And
it's a folk song.
That's what I love.
It's also a great song about the movie industry. You can take it into account to be a movie star as well as a music star because either way, the companies would eat people up and throw them out as soon as they made their money. And that's exactly what that song is. Again, this is the big hit off the record that he does at every show. Right. I think this is one of his most popular songs.
Yeah.
I know it's not in his top 5 for Spotify, but I believe if you give somebody, hey, this is who did this song, people will immediately say that's The Entertainer by Billy Joel. Right. It's again, I think I also like the fact that it kind of like pokes fun at the fact that they had to cut Piano Man down to 3 minutes and 5 seconds over the radio. It's great. It's a great kind of knock at that. It's funny. My personal favorite song off of Streetlight Serenade is Souvenir. It's only it's only like a minute and 30 seconds, but what it emphasizes and the value of every year just slowly fades away, but you're going to continue is powerful. Weekend song on this record is amazing. It basically is a knock at the 9-to-5 job. I will say though that the record in general as a whole doesn't really it's probably one of his weaker records in my opinion. It doesn't have like I could go down the list of the tracks for Piano Man and it'd be like everything on there is amazing. Cold Spring Harbor is a great opera of piano and vocal. This is a mesh of a couple different ideas about the suburbs of New York and all of that. It's a great suburban song. It's the Suburban Showdown's also a great song on that record. But it doesn't stick the landing with, especially it's like some of the songs like A Mexican Connection or the title track, they're okay, but they meander a little bit too much. Mexican Connection is just a weird instrumental that I don't think necessarily fits in the record itself. But yeah, it's a good record. It's not his strongest.
Yeah, it's fine. It feels like it's a little like you said, meandering is a good word for it. It kind of feels like it has ideas, but doesn't really know exactly what it wants to be. It almost feels like it's trying to be smarter than it is at times, trying to be clever. And nothing really kind of becomes as memorable as stuff on Piano Man or Cold Spring Harbor. I got a couple, like The Entertainer, like I said, was a very memorable.
The Entertainer, Roberta is about a stripper he met in Long Island, I think, and his relationship with her. But the ideas around those songs are kind of stronger than the songs themselves.
Yeah, Absolutely. I mean, Billy will admit it, and then later on, he said it wasn't very. He said it was some good musical lyric ideas were there, but he didn't really stick to landing. So, which led us into one of my favorites of all time, and in my possibility of grace, an angry Billy Joel. I kind of feel like Turnstiles kind of Billy gets a little angry in this one. You can feel like that emotion, the fire. Even starts out, it's funny because I say angry because it starts out with it sounds like a sunny song, Say Goodbye to Hollywood, but like you can tell that's coming from a place of like he's sick of Hollywood. He's sick of it. He wants to go back.
Well,
to
if you have Cold Spring Harbor was him in Long Island, then he goes to California and stop in Nevada with Piano Man.
Right.
Then he's still stuck in the suburbs of Los Angeles in Street Life Serenade, and now he's coming back and he's saying goodbye to all that shit, and he's coming and all of these songs on this record are New York anthems. If you look at it, Say Goodbye to Hollywood is just a F you to California, and then it goes into New York State of Mind where he's like on the New York Greyhound going right into New York, and I feel that song all the time. What's also
even New York even people who live in New York take that as their national anthem in a way, and I just completely understandable. It's a character.
Like that's not the top 5 on the
I'm actually shocked at that.
That's
and I gotta say,
me.
I will say, like, I don't if there's a list out there of songs that define a location, this is like maybe number 1. This could be number 1. This is like such a
Hotel California.
Yeah, there you go. Good choice.
There you go. But this has I Love These Days, which is a great New Year's song.
Beautiful ballad.
Beautiful ballad. And of course, it ends with, I think, his best concert openers, ironically, is Miami 2017.
This is like my Meatloaf. This is Meatloaf's Billy Joel right there. That's like kind of look at that. It's like kind of that big theatrical story. Like
big theatrical story. My band Don sings that song, and he always kills it. So it's great. It's like his book of Revelations, the destruction of New York, which honestly was kind of like, he even said it. He wrote that not thinking 9/11 was going to happen, and it did. And ever since then, he's made sure he's put that in his shows every single time he's in New York, obviously, and opens with it because it's just a testament to anything can happen. But optimism is also involved because at the end of the song, they rebuild. They're not going anywhere. It's still the lights are back on. So that Turnstiles record is a masterpiece. Yes.
Yeah, I will say. I'll throw one more in now. Prelude, Angry Young Man. Just like I said.
He opened his shows for years with that. Yeah. Prelude. That's great. One of the best piano solos ever.
Okay, so we move in from that and we go on to The Stranger, which to me is like where he kind of hits his first real peak in a way. It's like being comfortable with who he is. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, I like to look at The Stranger and be like, that's the greatest hits volume 1.
Right, exactly. So many hits on
every single song on that record's a hit except for Get It Right the First Time.
Yeah.
Everything on that song is not an album cut. People say he likes to flaunt around that, Vienna's an album cut. Dude, it's in your top 5 on Spotify.
Yeah.
If you tell anybody nowadays that Vienna wasn't a hit, their mind will be blown. Also, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant was never released as a single.
That shocks me.
Yeah, it's never been released, but yes, that's also a hit technically. So it never charted, but nowadays a hit is something that people associate with the artist. It's not. I would consider that a hit. You're cheating if you're like, oh, that's a deep cut because it never charted. No, Scenes is a legendary song. You go down the list. Only the Good Die Young. She's Got Away. Not She's Got Away. She's Always a Woman to me. The Stranger itself. The title cut. All of it just meshes into just Billy writing hit songs and putting them on the record, and all of them were in his live shows for the rest of the decade. So, I mean, it's just a really solid hit record. It really is.
Yeah, it really is.
It came out the same year as Bad Out of Hell, 77. It was, I can't imagine just radio people at the time they have so much options. That's why Vienna was a hit and Scenes was a hit, because they're like, oh, on the opposite side of this record is this song. Oh, this is also good. Let's play it. And that's when radio really took everything to a new level. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that was the same year that
that
like
was a radio record.
that was the same year. I'll always bring that Queen up in the conversation. News of the World came
Yeah.
out. They had We're the Champions. They said, well, we'll flip it over. We'll
Dude,
make Real Rocky the
77 is one of the greatest years of music. Yeah. God.
Talking about the flip sides. Also, you play the A side, the B side didn't matter. You play either side, you'd be good to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I love this album very much. I really feel like this is like this first peak time for him at this point. Really kind of knows what he's doing. Knows. Okay, from there he goes on to do 52nd Street. Now that's the big follow up. The jazz record. It feels like he was like, okay, I know who I am. Now I want to change it. I want to showcase this up and like throw it up a little bit, throw it out there a little bit.
I actually like to discuss 52nd Street and Glass Houses at the same time, because if you look at 52nd Street and Glass Houses, it's two separate Billies. Because 52nd Street is jazz, and then 1980s Glass Houses is straight up rock. And it is just guitar. There is not a single song on there that has a piano piece in it. It is just straight up vocal guitar. But with 52nd Street, you have the great jazz records. I mean, My Life was the big hit off of that. So was Big Shot. But I think Honesty was also a big like local hit. But it didn't have like, it has the biggest wealth of really good album tracks. You have Stiletto, Zanzibar.
Rosalinda's
Eyes. My mom loves that song. It's such a beautiful jazz record. And Half a Mile Away is a really big brassy. I'm going down to the pizza parlor because Little Jew is a friend of mine. It's great. And then you have Glass Houses, which is just an ode to like just regular rock and roll. He just wants to, as you were talking earlier, he just wants to bang out those rockers, and
I felt like he listened to
piano
punk.
sound. Yeah,
he kind of like listened to punk. He's like, I'm gonna do my version of punk in a way, like an really aggressive, like kind of like.
And it has the three big hits. You may be right. It's Still Rock and Roll to Me, and
Don't Ask Me Why.
Don't Ask Me Why is on that record as well.
I actually like some of the deeper cuts of this one. Like I love Sleeping with the Television On.
Oh, Sleeping with the TV is great. Television is amazing.
I Don't Want to Be Alone is a good fun one as well.
Oh, I Don't Want to Be Alone Anymore. I love that beat. Yeah. It's an Alpha Lena. That's his big keyboard. That's his keyboard song right there.
Right. But it still was kind of a fast rock and roll pace the whole time. Didn't slow down very much. I love that for Billy though. I think it was kind of needed. I kind of think that song is underrated. That album is like underrated and a little bit lost in time. You don't hear people talk about it as much
because there's the three big songs off of it, but nobody associates it with Glass Houses.
Right.
That cover is iconic though.
That's true.
And I forgot that it ends with the string song Through the Long, Long Night, which is basically an ode to the Beatles.
Yes.
If you listen to it, it sounds like
Strawberry Fields
and Strawberry Fields. Yeah.
Kind of orchestrations like that. Yeah, wonderful stuff.
But clumping them two together is really cool because you can see the difference in what the transition of Billy did from his piano bass to the guitar bass.
And right after doing The Stranger, like where he had his first singer-songwriter moment, he was like, okay, now I'm gonna do my jazz album. Now I'm gonna do my rock album. He kind of was just floating through time, like just getting inspired by things around him. Like this is where the music's changing around. The punk, like I said, punk rock comes out. He's like, I'm gonna do a progressive rock song. And then from there he goes on and does the live album. Obviously, we'll go through the Nylon Curtain, which is his next studio album. And what are your thoughts? Because I think this is one of his most ambitious albums.
A lot of people say that this is his best record. As much as I appreciate the songs in it, I don't go back to listen to it a lot. I don't want to say it's his worst record. It is not. No. I think that still goes to, sadly, Street Life Serenade. But even you saying the word worst is not accurate. It's just something I don't listen to a lot. I like to call this his Beatle record because the last song on their last record was Through the Long Night, and it transitions to in a lot of ways a lot of songs that sound like the Beatles. Surprises especially. There's a song on here, Laura calls me in the middle of the night. That sounds like John Lennon is singing that song. He's doing a John Lennon. It sounds like a Lennon track. This isn't
Scandinavian
bad stuff.
Skies.
Scandinavian Skies is literally Lucy the Sky with Diamonds.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it has the really powerful song "Goodnight Saigon," and
that is the one real saving grace from this album. And I say saving grace is like I like the other song, but that's the one I will go back to. It's really emotional.
It's powerful. It's his "Objects in the Rearview Mirror" by Meatloaf, where it's just going into the darknesses of history. Yes. And just bringing it out. And when he does it once a year during Veterans Day or whenever the closest show he has to Veterans Day. And you've seen it, Paul. He brings the vets up and he has them. We all go down together, and it is very powerful. But other than that, there's not many songs I go back to. I think his song "Pressure's" a little bit on the overrated side. It's okay. I think he overperforms that one.
I'm not a huge fan of Allentown, to be honest with you. That's not my favorite.
I actually don't really like Allentown at all. I don't know why he does it at every show. It's not my favorite song in the world. We're living here in Allen. I guess I could see singing that when you're in Pennsylvania.
Sure, absolutely.
Don't sing that when you're in Los Angeles. It's like singing New York State of Mind when you're there too. But at least with that, he's like, it's just he's dreaming about New York. With Allentown, you got to be in the moment, and I just never saw Allentown as that much of a thing. But it does have Goodnight Saigon, and I do like Surprises a lot, and Scandinavian Skies is a good song, but I don't go back to them. Goodnight. Goodnight is a really powerful song that I don't really jam to a lot. So
no, because it's hard to jam. It's a 7-minute long, like slow burn kind of song. It's like you have to be in the mood for it, in the moment for it. But once you're in there, it is good. We move on from that then to one of my favorite albums from him, because he kind of feels like he's going to revisit everything. And Innocent Man, he just decides to revisit all of his roots, and like the album cover is his best. Him on a street corner in a way, like him on the steps.
That street corner is still there too, I think. Yeah,
and he's just sitting there, and he's just, I'm gonna take all my old school stuff. I'm gonna do like doo-wop. I'm gonna do like old school rock and roll, like Sam Cooke style, Frankie Valli style, Little Richard style.
And he opens with James Brown with my favorite song on the record is Easy Money. I love it. The opening record, Easy Money. I got a 1-track mind, a good reputation laying on. I love that song so much. But every single song on the record is it's just going down his roots. The second song,
An Innocent Man, the title track.
An Innocent Man. It's great. That's basically Stand By Me. But it's
like the high notes,
the highs that he hits. Phenomenal.
This might be one of my favorite. This might be my favorite vocal performance by him. This record, vocal.
His vocal performance on This Night is crazy.
God,
another good New Year's song. It also feels like a ballad you would hear at like a dance in the 50s. That kind of like swaying back and forth with your girlfriend. A lot of these songs feel like they're from the musical Hairspray.
Yes.
It's that, that music vibe that it just feels like songs ripped from Hairspray, or Hairspray ripped songs from The Innocent Man from this. But what's another really good one? Keeping the Faith.
The rhythm of it.
The rhythm, and of course The Longest Time, a great acapella doo-wop. And Christy Lee. A really good version of Christy Lee is actually on My Lives, which is the demo version, which actually sounds even more like Little Richard.
Yeah.
But it's Christy Lee is a fun one. It's just that one is, I think that's my second favorite record, to be completely honest. The only one I don't really go back to is ironically Uptown Girl. Everything on that one is just, I love to go back to it.
I feel like Uptown Girl is another one of those songs that if you're a big Billy Joel fan, it's a little overplayed for you, because it's those defining songs, and it's like, okay, I've heard it enough. I'd rather listen to Innocent Man. I'd rather listen to this.
I think the better version of Uptown Girl on that record is Tell Her About It.
Tell Her About It.
Well, that's played, but it feels like a song ripped from Oliver and Company. With the Why Should I Worry, which came out, I think, the same year, 89, 80. What is it, 80?
Yeah.
When did Oliver and Company come out? 88?
88. I think it was 88.
And when did Innocent Man? Was that 87 or 86?
Innocent Man was 83, actually.
Oh, 83. Oh, God. Okay. I'm way off.
Yeah.
No, it just sounds like Tell Her, why should I worry came from this record too? So
it does. Well, maybe sometimes you put things in the background, and sometimes in the background they come back. Maybe that's what happened.
Maybe that's what they gave it to Disney and like, here, use this.
Use this. Go from there. That's right.
Good.
All right. After that, that's one of the greatest. That's just we're not going to talk about the greatest 1 and 2 came out after that, and then after that we went into the bridge, which I find to be a very interesting pop album. It's probably one of his more poppier albums.
The bridge is one that people kind of overlook.
I think so too.
There's a really good song at the end of it called "Getting Closer."
Mm-hmm.
And it's a prelude to a song in River of Dreams where he knows somebody's stealing his money. Mm-hmm. And then when you get to River of Dreams and the second song on that record, The Great Wall of China, he finds out who's stealing his money. Yep. So it was a message song there. This also has the Cyndi Lauper song, which is escaping me at the moment.
Code of Silence.
Code of Silence is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And the opening track, I think, is called Running on Ice. That one is really good. It feels like he's like it's like that song in Cold Spring Harbor, Falling of the Rain, but it's more scattered and more
my favorite track on the album, possibly my top 5. I still haven't thought yet. I love Temptation. I love that song so much.
Beautiful.
It's a very beautiful.
About his daughter, right?
About his daughter leaving home and everything else. And this is actually one of those things. I told you about my friend. I heard the demo version of this, which had this like unreleased bridge section in it, which I loved even more. And I was like, I wish I could not find that again. I got to find that.
I have all the demos. I'll send you a zip of that. It's
for sure.
The demo version. The demo is great. The demo version of Easy Money, and we were talking about demos. There's a lot of stuff we can talk about, but the demo version of The Stranger's crazy too. It sounds more like or the demo version of Only the Good Die Young is basically Jamaican kind of like
Jamaican record,
Jamaican record, yeah. So
Temptations has the other demo version of that. There's like a second demo, which is more of a version,
which is more upbeat. It's on YouTube. Yeah, that just was released. They could have come out with a My Lives too, and it would be amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
The demo version of No Man's Land is great too. It's more piano heavy. That one's really good.
I've heard.
But back on track with the bridge. This also has This Is the Time. Again, another
prom song.
Prom song that feels very uplifting.
Yeah.
Again, this is probably on like the lower tiers of his records. A Matter of Trust we discussed is his guitar heavy opener that he would open the bridge shows with, and this is the tour that he went to Russia with for the bridge to Russia, where he lost his voice.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a solid record. I would say my favorite actually with you is actually Temptation. Thinking about it, and he never did it live. Yeah,
no, I was very sad about that. I gotta say. I will say also, I'll throw it out that I said this is a pop record. There's a pop record. It's not all pop. You obviously have Baby Grant with Ray Charles. You have
Baby Grant. Why am I forgetting Baby Grant? Oh yeah.
Well, like kind of big. Those are typical bigger band Billy Joel type songs and everything else.
Yeah.
But the general feel of the album is like I'm going to do a pop album. A more like there's more synthy sounds. So Code of Silence has synth. Running on Ice has some synth stuff, and then and I think it's actually much better that it's regarded. It is kind of forgotten a little bit, but I mean I understand why, because there's like none of those big huge hits off of it really. I mean you got like what's the biggest hit? Matter of Trust is big, but like compared to like
I think if it was an album with strong album tracks, it would be higher for me.
Yeah.
Baby Grant I love. I actually forgot Baby Grant was on this record. I thought it was on Stormfront. Yeah, that Mandela Effect, damn it. But yeah, it has two great solid collaborations. But I do think it has one of the strongest closers, which is Getting Closer. So it is a solid record. Again, if ranking them is hard because it makes it look like it's a bad record, and it's not. So
I would say it's underrated. That's what I'll say.
Underrated is a good word to describe it. Yeah.
From there, we get into probably this might be his big peak again, like a second peak. Stormfront was a huge
success. Is a comeback.
This is a big comeback out of like he had the concert in Russia, which was kind of well known, but then he came back with We Didn't Start the Fire, just kind of literally lit fire to the charts, and like was like all of a sudden, whoa, what is this?
As regardless of what you think of the song We Didn't Start the Fire, if it didn't exist, Billy wouldn't be where he is.
No,
it is. He is back. He wrote that as after all the Russia stuff. This has also Leningrad on it, which is basically about Victor and then the person he met in Russia. It's a beautiful. Victor even went to a show in MSG, and he brought him on stage and all of that, and it was beautiful. And they did Leningrad again when he was there for the first time, I think, since the 90s. I think Leningrad was in the Stormfront tour, right. But Stormfront also has Downeaster Alexa, which, in my opinion, is probably the best New York-based song he has, and he has a lot of New York-based songs, but it's the best that it can. It's not my favorite, but it's the best that emphasizes the soul of New York and the soul of Long Island, especially.
Yeah,
and that's about fishing, and he does that a lot when he does that every time he's in Long Island, and it's basically a middle finger to the fishing industry and how they're treating their workers.
Right. 100%.
What's your favorite song off that record, Paul?
This one, well, you already mentioned Leningrad, and that's might be up there.
Yeah.
I'll probably throw it out there for "And So It Goes." Probably one of the best ballads of all time, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
It's such
it's also a New Year's song.
Closer, another New Year's thing. It actually reminds me of a Cold Spring Harbor type song. That's what kind of goes back to that kind of era in a way.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think during the Stormfront tour he closed with that.
He did. I'm 99% sure he did in that. Yeah. It's kind of like that. Kind of like everything. Like you had the big moments, and you had this like one soft moment. The crowd all got into it together. Beautifully done. Also, there. Go ahead.
I'm sorry to talk about. You usually before then end with Souvenir.
Yep.
So I think that was his new Souvenir.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Paul, sorry. Yeah,
that makes sense. That's fine. I also want to throw out there one of the underrated songs is "Shameless." I think it's a fun, fun rock song. I know Garth Brooks did it as well, so we kind of had that kind of.
Garth Brooks had a #1 with it. That's what he always says, and he actually brought Garth to do it for
Central Park, right? Was it? Or Shea? Such a fun one. Time. I Go to Extremes is another fun rock song. I actually got to perform that at a variety show once, and some guy said I sounded like James Hetfield doing it, but I'll take it. It's fine.
That's a really good song live. Really, a really good version of it. It is on that Millennium record I told you about.
Yes, 100%.
They just go ham.
They go full on out.
Yeah,
Billy Joel's one of those artists that when he does things live, it actually ends up working better than others.
Better
sometimes. They have time to jam on it. They have time to like really explore it and everything else. Every song on the album is a banger. I can't lie. Like even the ones he doesn't play Stormfront very much anymore, but it's a great.
Stormfront was a great opener, and so is the
State of Grace is good in there.
When in Rome, I think, is on that too.
When in
the
Rome
one that has a great sax solo in it.
Yes. That's Not Our Style is also fun.
That's with the harmonica.
Yes.
Is that Stevie Wonder? That might be Stevie Wonder on the harmonica.
I believe it might be, actually. I'm not sure. Let's check that out.
Monica, Joel, Billy.
Don Brooks. Don Brooks is the harmonica. That's what it says. But maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, no. It is Tom Brooks. I'm thinking of... Never mind. No.
That's okay.
Sorry. He might have been live. It might have been a live thing I'm thinking of then.
It could be. It would make sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
That would make a lot of sense. Yeah.
Billy likes playing live with people, so it makes a lot of sense for sure. And from there, after Stormfront was so successful, he came back with his last pop album, which was, of course, River of Dreams, which was, again, this is the first album that was released in my lifetime that I was like looking forward to. Like I was in like it's just because I knew Billy Joel was. Stormfront came out. I kind of remember who he was. Then this was like, okay, Billy Joel's releasing a new album. This is the first time I remember seeing him as he's releasing a new album, and he won me easily with this album. I think it's such an underrated album. Honestly, it didn't get much airplay compared. Like the single River of Dreams got a lot of airplay, but after that, it kind of tanked a little bit. Like as far as like airplay goes, All About Soul didn't really do much.
This record's my favorite. This is my favorite album of his, and nobody really talks about it. I think the opening track is what we usually open our shows with my band is No Man's Land is just a great big bombastic rocker that basically says the industry needs to stop tearing down Long Island, keep the agriculture, stop bringing up Levittown's and all these big businesses. You're destroying the environment. Goes into the Great Wall of China, which is again him saying, "Stop stealing my money, you're fired." Basically, we could have been like on the top of the mountain, and since you've been stealing from me, you're just getting thrown to the pits. It's his angriest record, because then you get into the River of Dreams, which he wrote it in the shower.
That story.
Yeah, he wrote it in the shower, and if you're listening to the lyrics and all that, it really doesn't make a lot of sense. But attached to Lullaby, which is a lullaby he wrote for his daughter, and you hear the similarities because Lullaby goes into River of Dreams.
Yes,
it's essentially an extended love letter to his daughter. There's a remix on the My Lives record where it actually puts a big piece of Lullaby in the center of it, and it's the best version of River of Dreams.
Yes, I agree.
Also, Land of a Thousand Dances is in the center of it when they do it live on the Millennium record, which is hilarious. He just randomly goes into it. During his live performances, he will stop the song and do a random cover in the middle of it and go back into it. It's a great live piece. Yes. It just shows how nonsensical that song is, though. It doesn't mean anything. But the overall record is phenomenal, because you get to the last two songs on it. And the penultimate song is, in my opinion, my favorite Billy Joel song of all time, which is a song called 2,000 Years.
We are on the same page. I love this song.
2,000 Years. Song. I also put it on my holiday playlists because it exemplifies the end of the year, and in a way that none of these other New Year's songs really do. And it's also the optimism of the future. And the reason why he doesn't do this anymore is because when he wrote that, it was before 9/11 and all the tragic stuff that happened since then. But he was optimistic in the new millennium, that it was going to be a new millennium, an optimism of the millennium. And I think the power of it just makes it seem like even if we're in the darkest of times, there's still that glimmer of hope. And 2,000 Years exemplifies all of that. And it's also a kind of like, enjoy the holiday season, enjoy the season with your family, enjoy everything. I know he doesn't do it live because of how he feels about the song and how his mindset when he wrote it is completely different. I respect that. I think he should do this more often during the holiday season, because I think it really does exemplify what the world could use. I think he puts this song out like he just did Turn the Lights Out. This song's a hit. This song he re-records this, the song's a hit again.
I agree.
And of course the last song, Famous Last Words, is basically him closing the book on everything. And he's just going out on his fun little it's a fun little ditty that he lands on, but I think it's powerful because these are the last words he had to say. And until Turn the Lights Out, it really was.
Yeah.
But I think he had All My Life, that song also came out too afterwards. But he had these like single songs that he would release. But
Christmas in Fallujah, which he
Christmas in Fallujah,
with this Cass Dillon, I believe his name was.
Yeah, and he sometimes rewrites the lyrics to Miami 2017 when things happen. But it's closing the book like he did with Famous Last Words in 2,000 Years is probably the strongest close to a career that you could have.
Yeah.
And I think the record itself shows. I think there's Blonde Over Blue is a song that basically puts a rock beat under the Psycho theme.
Yeah.
He based it around the Psycho theme and his ex-wives and all of that. And it's just a powerful, angry message to leave on, but it's sometimes the angrier messages are the ones that
resonate. Yeah, 100%. No, I'm agreeing with you. Actually, we're both on agree. This is actually, I chose this as my Desert Island record as well.
Oh, honestly. Really? Okay, so there's no debate. Okay, this is the one this is the one I would stick with. The only one that doesn't, there's not really a song on there that I could do without. No.
Easily. I mean, easily could say like I had other options, like Storm From was up there, Turnstile was up there. But at the end of the day, I always go back to this for the message and for that. You have that bit of anger, you have that bit of love, you have that bit of nonsense, that zaniness out there with River of Dreams and everything else. But it has a perfect transition of everything. It's almost like a greatest hits of Billy Joel in one album. Like, it's got every kind of little piece of Billy Joel you'd really want to have. Minus some of like maybe the big more epic like scenes or something like that. But overall, there's not a bad record or not a bad song on this record at all. And even hearing it live is even better. To be completely honest, all the tracks, what they do in live, he just rocks out with them for sure.
He actually brings, I think, going down Soundless.fm, he's brought out almost every single record. Like he every single album track he just brings out on occasion, anytime he wants. This is the record he goes to. I think I've also read that this is his favorite record. I think I read that too, that this is his favorite record along with Nylon. So
yeah, that makes sense. He actually he made that before. He was very excited. You remember him having an interview about him saying how much he loved it. He was disappointed it didn't hit as well as because he's put so much work into it. It's actually one of the reasons he stopped writing. He said he's like, I don't want to do it if it's not going to be as successful as if everybody's not really going to listen to it or something. Which is so sad to me because I feel like he did write a near perfect album, so like people should be able to take care of it more.
It's just people were comparing it to the albums that they liked better, I guess, like Glass Houses or whatever. Yeah. And I think to this day a lot of people like compare it unfavorably to those. And I feel like if you look at that record and you see the messages that he's saying, and you see the formats of the songs, and you listen to the songs and you listen to what they're saying, you might find yourself to be more captivated by the message than, let's say, a song like You May Be Right. So
right. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right. So after that, he did have the one album, the classical album. I listened to it once or twice. That's fine. I'm not very
beautiful little pieces. It's just a beautiful. It's what's it called?
Fantasies and Delusions.
Fantasies and Delusions. Yeah. It's beautiful. There's not a lot I can really talk about because I don't know the infrastructures of all the nuances of the notes and how classical it is. I can see that the songs like Vienna and Souvenir are really like their inspirations are really prevalent in that because they're also based on classic composers and stuff.
Right.
This Night also was lifted straight from Beethoven. So everything that he does is classic because he's a classically trained pianist. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. So let's talk about his big return. He did come back recently. Obviously, turned the lights back on. What was your thoughts when you heard about it? When you heard it, give me your review and your short-term review on it.
Are you talking about Turn the Lights Back On?
Turn the Lights Back On. Yeah,
it's a beautiful song. It's a great song. It's 2,000 years at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have 2,000 years at home. It's basically like the song itself is 2,000. It has the melody, has like the build up and everything of 2,000 years, but without the lyrics. And it's a great song. I don't think it's like. I think it's more noteworthy now because it's his only song he's written in the past 30 years.
Yeah.
It's a great song. I think it could have slot well on River of Dreams or the Piano Man record because again, it also sounds a little bit like If I Only Had the Words to Tell You as well. Like it's that kind of like piano quality, like singer-songwriter song. It's great. Yeah, I just think I think people are making a bigger deal of it than the song actually is because it's his first song in 30 years. That's
a good point.
It's a great song. It's just not his best. Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I was happy to see him come back and do it. It was nice to hear Billy Joel on the air again, so to speak.
The music video was great. Yeah.
Music video is phenomenal. I will say I was surprised and a little sad. And I remember the interview saying like he hasn't done anything for a while. And he's like, I don't like writing. I don't like my voice. I don't like kind of seemed like he was really kind of down on himself and like in terms of like this is why I don't do this stuff anymore. And I had to get really he had to get pushed by his producer partners there to kind of do this and do it himself. And I'm like, Billy, like I don't think you see how you see yourself how we see you in a way. Like I think it's a very worthy thing. If he came out with a song like this every once in a while, it'd be awesome. It'd be phenomenal to hear him come back and do stuff.
And also, I don't know if he listens to his own board tapes, but he still sounds amazing live.
Yeah,
I don't get it. Anytime I see a video, I'm like, is his voice aging? Nope.
No.
Even on his word, even with the 1987 Russia album where his voice was hoarse, he still sounded better than Bruce Springsteen half the time.
Yeah,
It's great. It's fine.
It's great.
Yeah, he brings down the keys on songs, but you have to do that for your voice. And sometimes
smart.
the songs actually sound even better in a lower key.
Yeah,
Look at the Entertainer live.
He's got a great lower register to him, so that's what's
when he sings the Entertainer live now, it's like 2 tones down, and he sings it in a deeper voice, and it's much more menacing. I love it. Yeah,
I agree. Fully agree. It's great that way. But
before
we get into our top 5, our Spotify list or whatever we're gonna do, let's talk about his legacy here at this point. What do you think his legacy is in terms of his career, where he stands, what people think of him? Who is Billy Joel in the world of music?
I think Billy Joel's the biggest representation of the working class man in terms of songs. Yeah. I feel like he basically exemplified what it is to be the normal person, the normal dude. He was never the best looking dude in the high school. He was never everybody's dream jock. But at the end of the day, his talent superseded all of that. And I feel like that's who Billy Joel is. That's every song that you can list, No Man's Land, even Allentown, or Downeaster Alexa, anthems for the working class person. Yeah. Even Leningrad is a ballad for a working class gentleman in Russia, for Victor. Who was a circus performer, I think, right? Or a clown in Russia? Clown. Yeah. It's just sympathizing with the 9 to 5s, weekend song. All of that stuff is just, it's not big mansions and beautiful women. It's, oh, I'm leaving my job and I'm going to get a hoagie at the Wawa or something. You know what I mean? It's great. It's great.
It's funny you mentioned. I will say, I think his legacy is, he is overlooked, I think, and underrated because of all of his strengths. Everything you just mentioned and his consistency, even though he hasn't put out a record in, since River Dreams, really pop record.
He's still making money from all of that, dude. He's never gonna die.
Constantly touring, constantly gigging. He's kind of always in your life, and because of that, I kind of feel like he's almost like he would hate to hear me say this, but he's a little bit of the institution. He's like an institution himself in a way. He's like that kind of guy where like he is the working class man himself, but people know him over there. He's not like this kind of guy who pops back in. He's just always there. I think almost that hurts him because people don't think about him as far as legacy goes. And I think it's a crime and a shame. You put him like together with someone like an Elton John, and they had those great tours together. I love those tours when they had, because Elton John's one of my favorites. So having them
face to face, those tours, I went to a bunch of them.
Me too. They were so much fun. Yeah. But Elton John, on one hand, very much a diva, a camp performer, showman,
big showman,
over the top kind of thing. He screams for attention, whereas Billy just kind of is like, yeah, sure. He gets the attention, but I think almost like he doesn't get enough attention and enough respect for everything he's done. I think people take him for granted sometimes. That's what I feel like. They feel like, oh, Billy Joel, yeah, he did all this stuff. He's a great piano man. No, he's a great and wonderful musician. He had so many great albums. One of the best showmen we've had. And I will stand on my ground. I think he's underrated in his life.
Billy once said, Ellen looked at him and Ellen was like, why don't you make more records? And then Billy's like, why don't you make less? I think less is more to Billy. I think that's great because we could never do a full discography discussion on Ellen because that would take 4.5 hours. 100%. But with Billy, it's quality over quantity, and we have 13 records, 14. I haven't, 13 records, and it's just everything. There's not a lot of shit,
right? Yeah, no, exactly. It's all pretty much, there's not a lot of chaff in it. It's all pretty much solid stuff as we went. So there we go. Those were we both said it. The River Dreams are both our labels. If I had to pick another one out there, I would throw an Innocent Man out there. That's probably my other one.
Innocent Man would be your second. I think my second would actually be 52nd Street. Innocent Man's probably my third one. At 52nd Street, a lot of good jazz songs on there. Yeah.
But I always will go back to Cold Spring Harbor on those. There's some days I'll just always go back to Cold Spring Harbor for that, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's get into it then, as we always do on the one-offs here as we start to wrap things up here. We're going to talk about our Spotify list, our one-offs best of Billy Joel. Now, we're going to have a little game to play here, so to speak. We have the top 5 Spotify tracks from Billy Joel. They are Uptown Girl, Piano Man, Vienna. Sorry, Billy, it's one of your best hits now. We Didn't Start the Fire, unsurprisingly. And She's Always a Woman, which did surprise me a little bit. That's top 5. Surprised that's top 5.
She's always a woman. Always been like, I think, the wedding song for people. So people who are getting, maybe since we're out of the summer season where wedding season usually happens, maybe that's why it's so high up right now. Because I could have sworn like maybe a year ago she was New York State of Mind was up there. Not She's Always a Woman.
I wouldn't say, yeah.
I could have sworn. Usually during the winter season, maybe New York State of Mind because of Christmas in New York and all of that. Maybe it's up there. So, yeah. But
I don't know, but that's what we got to work with. So we could not choose those songs. Those songs are automatically on our list. So we each are going to pick 5 tracks to add to this kind of best of, and then afterwards I'll put a playlist together and I'll put it into the show notes so you can click on it and find it yourself if you'd like to listen along with us. So I'm going to let you pick number 1, your first track that you're going to add to this list there. Which one?
2000 Years. I think I'm sorry to go off the rails, but 2000 Years, I think we can both agree we've discussed it. It's phenomenal. It's beautiful.
100%. And actually, I'm happy you picked it because I can take that off my list and just take one of my alternates.
Yeah, good. That's good. I figured.
All right. From there, this is where I'm actually definitely going to put The River of Dreams because I love. This is the most. Could you
put the remix on the My Lives record on there?
If that's on Spotify, that's the one I'm going to use.
Okay, good. Make sure it's the one with the little bit of lullaby in the middle.
That's the way we can also sneak on an extra track there with lullaby in there. I can sneak.
That's a little bit, yeah.
But to me, it's probably honestly the most fun song.
Yeah,
or one of the most
it makes no sense. It makes no sense. It just doesn't make any sense, but it's great.
It's positive. It's fun. It rocks out.
Get a soap and water in your shower.
If I can't find the My Lives one isn't on there, I might choose the one of the live versions, like the Millennium.
Oh, the live one with the Millennium with the 1,000 years of dances.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, I'll do something maybe because I like the live version even better than the album version. So I'll choose a live version for sure. That's what I'll do. So okay, it is back to you, my friend. What is your choice?
What do I want to put on next? Okay. This Night. This Night would be probably the one I would put on next. I love as we said, it just feels like something you would see at like in Back to the Future during the dance sequence.
Yes.
I like the little bit of Beethoven in the middle and how it's like it really emphasizes his classical roots. I think it's a beautiful piece, and the harmonies are great.
I mean, as a Queen fan, it actually feels like a very Queenish kind of song. I could see Freddie doing that big ballad section in the middle like that, 100%.
Yeah, so right into Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah,
Speaking of that, I'm going to throw this out there for you. This is what I do all the time. I try to throw out there. Billy Joel could cover a Queen song. I would love to see him do My Melancholy Blues from News of the World. I think it was the perfect track for Billy to do. He would do it much differently. He would do it at a much lower register or whatever. But I think that would be I could see him sitting at the piano doing that and just like smoky bar somewhere. I think it'd be a beautiful track to listen to.
That would be great.
Billy, if you're listening, after the concert somewhere.
So I could see like 1980s Glass Houses, Billy doing Fat Bottom Girl.
100%.
I could see that so bad. 100%. That'd be great.
Okay, so you did This Night. I will go on and throw which one was in there now after what we got. I got to throw Miami 2017 in there. I got to do it.
You just took one off my list. Okay. Well, that one's dead.
We talked about it a lot already, but it is the epic. I'm a theatrical guy. I'm a Queen fan, Meatloaf fan too. So anytime you do something big and theatrical, I'm probably going to like it. And this is very big and very theatrical and very rock and roll. Yeah. So absolutely going for that one. All right, you're next, my friend.
Big theatrical. This is really hard because man. I gotta go with this is difficult. You know what? I have to because I just love it. Easy Money. Easy Money. Yeah. As I said, the opening of Innocent Man is so fun. I I just love how it just feels like a James Brown song. I actually replay that the most of anything, so it's always in my rotation on my Spotify stuff. So Easy Money. I'm sorry. I know it's a weird out there take, but I think Easy Money.
Dude, that's what this podcast is for. We have the best of that we throw on that. Some of these tracks would never be on the actual greatest hits, and that's fine.
No.
It's not a song I would choose, honestly. I like it a lot, but I would not choose it for my top things. But I'm happy it's on there because it's going to give you a chance to listen to more, to be honest with you. It's a way to go back to the thing for sure. Yeah. Okay, for me, then I'll go up next. So we got 2 choices left. So we got 4 tracks left, and I got so many songs I want to put on there. I have 3 left to do, so 2, and I have 3 left. So I'm going to go with. All right, I have to do it. I think, for the sake of the audience in there, I think we'd get skinned alive if we didn't put Scenes from an Italian Restaurant on there. I think we would get skinned alive, but I'm okay with putting
Scenes
it on
was actually what I was gonna probably choose next.
Oh,
yeah. Okay, you're on my wavelength. Okay, good.
I think it has to be on there. It's almost one of those prototypical Billy Joel songs that everybody loves it.
We have Scenes, we have Miami. I think we're good to now delve deep into these last 2. I think it is right. 2.
Yeah. I got two each left now to go with. So at this point, we also got a good set. I think we got a good mix so far of ballads and rockers, which is nice, of course, for sure. Yeah. So all right, let's go for your next one. There, what's your number 4 choice?
Opening number, No Man's Land. I think No Man's Land it's a driving song. It is a really good driving song. Again, you're never gonna see it on the greatest hits. I think it was released as a single and flopped, but it's a really good live record. And it's a really good just thumper. I love No Man's Land. It's a great anthem for Long Island.
Yeah, I agree. Good stuff. Oh man, there's so many I'm going to be missing out on. I'm really looking at this list like I can't put that on. Like I'm looking through. I want Captain Jack. I want Ballad of the Kid. I want The Entertainer. I want Leningrad. Oh God!
Why did you have to buy 5?
Because that's what makes it hard and fun. That's what I have to do. That makes it a difficult choice. These hard choices to make. I think I have to go with.
You won't be disappointed in my last one. I'll say that.
Okay. I think I will go with Ballad of Billy the Kid. I think I'm going to go with Ballad of Billy the Kid.
Yeah, that one's great. Specifically, the songs in the attic version.
Yes,
I will. With Liberty on the backing. Oh, dude. The songs in the attic version hits. Because when the drums are so in there. Oh, it's so good.
It's Bill. I know it's not Billy Joel the Kid. I know it's Billy the Kid, but it is Billy Joel the Kid. I love that. That's the whole bit at the end there is it becomes biographical. Just from West Long Island. It's such a great moment in the concert. Kind of stops and goes forward from there
with a 6-pack in his hand.
6-pack in his hand. Yep, absolutely. So good. All right, so your final choice.
I think the thing that exemplifies the music business, the movie business, the lot is The Entertainer. I think The Entertainer deserves to be up there. I think it's just a great. I think it really just back. It exemplifies his mindset back in the early 70s. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Can I change one or no?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't mind if you change one. Go ahead.
Could we take out Easy Money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you have said? This is not stopped until the end of the podcast. You can't change it when we end this recording. That's about it.
Yeah. So we're taking out Easy Money.
Okay.
But I think because we have 2,000 Years, that's a great piano and vocal song.
Mm-hmm.
We're missing something off of 52nd Street.
Okay.
I will say Zanzibar.
Oh, interesting. That's a good one to add. I think it's a good one for the fans.
I think Zanzibar, on top of it going viral with TikTok.
Yeah.
It really showcases the trumpet of he got a really good trumpet player on there, but when he does it live, he has his trumpet player, which is amazing, do it too. It's a great live. So I think Zanzibar deserves a spot up there on that playlist.
Yeah. Freddie Hubbard played it on the album.
Freddie Hubbard. And his why is Billy's trumpet player escaping me right now?
Find out in 2 seconds. See you at
Carl Fisher. Carl is
That's
great.
it.
He's a
Yep.
great dude. Carl. Yeah, every show he has that like 6-minute solo at the end, and it's amazing. So I think Zanzibar deserves that spot. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah. So the last track for me, then that means I'm like down to 3 tracks I want to choose, and I don't know which one I want to leave out. God, Leningrad was a song for me when I was younger. When Stormfront, that was probably my favorite song of that album and of the time.
Yeah.
So it feels I feel shame leaving it off, but I think I have to. So to me, it's come down to Captain Jack, which is a great rock number.
It's a Philly anthem. Yeah.
Philly anthem. But I think I would betray myself if, for whatever reason, the long-term Billy Joel song for me that still is a great way to end it is "And So It Goes." I think it's 100%. A great ending.
So we're starting the playlist with 2,000 Years and ending with "And So It Goes." That's a great bookend, dude.
Right?
Oh my god.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
I was this close to putting Souvenir too. It's just, oh man, you put a gun to my head and I have to figure this out. Oh crap. But it's crazy.
I mean, I threw out there's a bunch of songs. Captain Jack, I would love to have on there. Some honorable mentions. I would love to have thrown Only the Good Die Young. So I have a lot of fun with that. I have a great karaoke of me doing it.
I'm surprised Only the Good is not on the top 5 of Spotify.
So am I. Temptations on one I would love to put on there, but it's in there. But
I almost said The Great Wall of China is also a really good one about the betrayal. Again, Easy Money just made it off the list because I cut it. So Longest Time is great.
You're right. You're on that. Tomorrow.
And Stop in Nevada. And Tomorrow's Today.
Out there. Everybody
Got
Loves
to
You
Begin
Now.
Again. Yeah.
There's a lot of songs. Like we're leaving off a ton of songs. And like
surprises.
Everybody's going to hate us in some ways, I'm sure, for something, but that's okay. I can.
No, it's all good. I mean, at the end of the day, the top 5 Spotify songs are there. To be honest, of the top 5 of there, I probably wouldn't have put Uptown Girl or Fire. I think Piano Man deserves it. But yeah, it's a great list though.
I think we did a solid job overall. The top 5 in there, we have some good hits, some good deep cuts, some good powerful Billy songs, which is what I want out of that. I want those Billy songs.
So, most of the albums are represented. So that's actually, I think almost all of them are, except for the bridge.
Yeah, maybe Cold Spring Harbor isn't either, I think, but.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's understandable, honestly.
Tomorrow's Today would have been like right there. Yeah.
Right in there is one of my possibilities. But you can only have so many slots. That's what we. Otherwise, we could have a playlist of 500 songs. We'd be happy with it, honestly. So, all right, my friend, that will do it then for us, folks. Where can folks find you, Chris?
You can find me at Clark's Madness on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. We do Mario Party and other streams for the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. I'll be sure to check those out. I used to do the Mario Party Madnesses during the pandemic days, but now it's like grown into this huge thing. It's great. People love it. I used to be Chris Clark 8788. Those numbers mean nothing, but I had to change the handle because for branding purposes. So it's now Clark's Madness. No more. Those numbers mean nothing, sadly. Yep.
Fair enough. All right, you can find me at Paul News on Twitter. You can find me obviously all over this channel doing stuff. We have a lot of shows we do. Every 2 weeks, I do 2 Mediocre White Dudes on Film with PJ Campbell. I do a show every 2 weeks with Lego called Review, where we talk about the V franchise. I do Star Wars Holy Snokes with Maddie Gunner every week for that. And I do a Queen podcast every week on my sister channel, Crown Jewels, where I'm going through the Queen catalog song by song, picking out the best version of every song, and we're making an ultimate playlist, live demo, all that kind of stuff. I mix them up and I go through it and give you some notes and quotes and have a little fun. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of One Offs. We got another couple of possibilities coming forward. I'm going to reach out to Rob Fishback to maybe do Bruce Springsteen. I got Ben Bateman on the hook to do Tom Petty at some point soon. We're trying to make some schedules work. And more ideas are just coming up. I mean, it's funny. I started this podcast not as a music podcast specifically. It was going to be a passion, so whatever it was. But so far, it's been all musical artists, and I might end up sticking to be all musical artists. And that's the way it goes because I've had a lot of fun doing it this way. So who knows? But that'll be next time, of course. Ben is a great dude. Yeah, it's a lot of fun doing that. So, all right, we will see you next time on this, and stay tuned. Hit that like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, and we will see you next time. All right, guys. Bye now.
Boom.